A lot of times you make arancinis with them, right? You fill them with some peas, some meats, cheeses. But this is pretty much a crispy risotto patty.
What's up, it's Luis from America's Best Restaurants, and we travel the country coast to coast to find the places where you need to eat at on a weekly basis. Today, we are in Geneva, Illinois at an incredible restaurant, one of my actual favorites, one of my top 3 in the Chicagoland area. It's called Osteria Bigolaro. We're gonna talk to the owner, Chef Tony, or Anthony, and we're gonna see some of their incredible, mouth-watering homemade dishes like their carbonara, which he learned how to make in Italy. Completely is gonna blow your mind. Look, and a couple of other things we're gonna show you. Look, I know that you're hungry because you're watching this. So why don't you come with me? Check it out. All right, everybody, so now we are inside Osteria Bigolaro, and we are here with my friend, Anthony, Tony, Chef Tony. So, Chef Tony, man, I really appreciate
Of course, buddy.
having us in here. You know I love your food.
I know, we love having you.
The other day, your brother kind of bribed me, kind of.
Hey, we'll use it. It worked. He brought you in. How do you do it?
Me. Oh, he sent me a picture of this. So that's a great segue to start with the first dish.
Yeah, there you go, perfect.
He sent me a photo of this, and I'm like,
I need it.
I basically said the F word. And I said, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to come in. So, Tony, talk to me, what is this?
So this is a great entree we have on the menu. We've had it for about 2 to 3 weeks now. It's octopus that's braised for about 3.5 hours, of course, until, super tender. Let it sit in its own juices overnight, right? Make sure that kind of redoes its thing, absorbs all that moisture. And then on the bottom, it's called risotto al salto, which is commonly found in central Italy. Leftover risotto from the day before. A lot of times you make arancinis with them, right? You fill them with some peas, some meats, cheeses. But this is pretty much a crispy risotto patty. So leftover risotto, smash it down, add a little bit of cheese, some butter, some egg. We infuse it with squid ink, right? To kind of play with that seafood pasta, or a seafood dish, sorry. And then we just crisp them up to order. And then on the sides here, we have a potato and artichoke croquette. Potato artichoke's very classic, of course. So get 3 of those on there, fry them up, a whole bunch of cheese and herbs in there. And then the little dots of fun stuff, we have lemon garlic aioli and herb aioli and some pickled mustard seeds. Fresh dill, very bright. It's fantastic. Like you said, it left you speechless, I think.
It's outstanding. Right? So I come in, so your brother sends me a text. And he says, hey, hope you're doing well. And then he sends me a photo of this. I'm like, damn it.
I'd be better if I had that. It's pretty much what you were thinking, right?
So he sends me a favor, and I'm like, damn it, why'd you send me that, right? So he tells me what it is. And I go to my fiance and say, babe, what are we doing for dinner? She said, well, we have food at home. I'm like, look, Joey sent me this. She's like, damn it. All right, call him up. So I call your brother, because he told me, after he sent me the text, he said, hey, let me know or call me, because, got reservations and everything. I call him out, I say, Joey, you got me. He starts laughing.
Put us down for 2, baby.
Right, put me down. So, and it was worth it.
What else did you guys have?
I had this, but before we get to that, even Ryan had a tough time pronouncing the name of this restaurant.
Yeah, I still do. It's been 5.5 years.
So it's called Osteria Bigolaro. It Ryan's like, he said, not even gonna try it.
Yeah, we say OB is pretty much it's the abbreviation. But Osteria, it means very casual restaurant. There's also like trattorias, which are a little bit more fine dining, white tablecloths and stuff like that. And then a Bigolaro is actually a pasta extruder. The real word of it is torquillo Bigolaro. It's found in the Veneto region, so Venice area, northern Italy. And it's just an old school pasta extruder, which we just so happen to have, right? Story about this, I tried to convince my wife to buy this for the house because everybody needs a Bigolaro for the house, right?
Of course.
She says, no, we have enough kitchen gadgets. I said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna name the restaurant after this, so I have an excuse to buy it, right? So I had it brought in from the Venice region, and it literally is hand cranked. Typically, traditionally, it sits on, almost looks like a little horse, right? And it's mounted, you sit on it, and then you hand crank it, and then it falls underneath, and you usually have a bowl of semolina, flour, anything like that to kind of catch the pasta. And then it literally, you get hand cut it, very old school, right? Very cool to have, very impractical for business.
Oh yeah.
Right? Time is money, as we all know, and it'll probably take a good, 20, 30 minutes to make one portion. So we had to say, this is gonna be on display and display only.
Right.
But we imported a beautiful pasta extruder from Italy that does the majority of the legwork for a fraction of the time. So it's definitely come in handy over the last 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just the fact that you guys can make your own fresh pasta with that pasta extruder in the back.
Yeah, it's a huge difference in texture and flavor. And where we're at in the Midwest, especially in the suburbs, you don't get a lot of that true handcrafted pasta.
Really
so it took a while for people to really like, wait a minute, this is so different. Because you get it al dente, but you're not getting that box pasta al dente. And again, I'm not against box pasta at all, but once you have this, you're never going back, right? It's just got a different mouthfeel, different tooth feel.
Yep.
And it's just, I couldn't imagine not having fresh pasta ever again,
Right.
And it's all eggless, so it's all semolina, water, olive oil. So technically it's vegan, which is great. Little longer shelf life too, with no egg in it, so.
I love it, man.
Yeah, good.
I love it. So the other dish that I had, because you asked me, you sent me a photo of this. These are a fun little appetizer. So these are actually called Gnudies, Gnudi, right? Which pretty much translates into naked in Italian. So think of cheese ravioli or a stuffed pasta of cheese without the pasta itself. So it's literally just our homemade ricotta cheese, which we make in house, of course. A little bit of flour, some egg, some Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper, of course. And we change these up every month or so, set up. Right now we're doing a cacio e pepe, which is a very classic Roman dish, of course. So it's just pasta water, freshly cracked black pepper from our neighbors across the street, Galena Garlic Company. And it's a 4-blend. So we get a little bit of different mixture of flavors. So we got white, black, green, and red. So very floral, or pink, I should say. Very floral. It's just great. It's a great appetizer. It's classic in a kind of a newer way. And again, we switch these up here and there, so it'll stick around for a while. It's a good crowd pleaser right now, so it's working. We're keeping them. It's phenomenal. The food here is just absolutely outstanding. It's always, every time I come here.
Thank you.
It's just off the charts.
Thank you.
Now, how did you decide to become a chef?
How?
Because I know
how and why.
We're gonna talk a little bit about your dad, because I know your dad is like at the highest level of Corvette.
Yeah, he's a high performance mechanic. Yes.
Yeah, he's like a virtuoso. Of
yeah.
Corvettes.
Would that
be the right?
I would say that not to talk up my dad, but I would say that he's definitely a wizard when it comes to cars. But that's also coming from me, who only knows how to change a tire. So, but yeah, he's great at his craft. He's great at what he does, and. So my story, is that what you're asking? How Okay, so we kind of grew up in the restaurant industry in the suburbs. My family, my dad, my uncle, my aunt, they owned a little pizzeria, carry out only. And so I was kind of always surrounded by food. Of course, I loved eating food. We, after school, my aunt would pick up my brother Jojo and I. We would do our homework and we would help out with some prep at the restaurant, which there's no child labor laws because it's family, right? That doesn't go hand in hand. So so we were kind of always around it, and It wasn't, I was late in the world of food. You know, most people are in their teens, right? When they kind of get into food, maybe I want to be a chef. And at the time I was working in construction with my brother. My brother owns a countertop company. And, you know, 2008, you know, when things happen and, you know, business was like, well, okay, I got nothing to back up on. You know, I was just out of high school working with him. And I saw an ad for Le Cordon Bleu online. And I'm like, okay, always loved food. My wife now, but at the time we were dating, she's like, well, maybe look into culinary school. Went to orientation. I said, good. It literally started as a backup plan. And like 2 or 3 months into culinary school, I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I had the opportunity to study in Italy for just under 3 months through Le Cordon Bleu. They did an externship there. So I spent about 3 months in Sorrento, Italy, stayed with a wonderful family out there. They owned a bed and breakfast. And we would sleep there, we would cook, we would dine with the guests. So imagine if you guys, you know, you and your fiance went out there, you stayed at the bed and breakfast, you would sit with us for dinner. We would explain to you what we made. You know, you have all the, you know, the fishermen would come in from the, I mean, it was just such a, it literally changed my life with food. So I was there for about 3 months, came back here, trying to figure my stuff out. And I knew Italian-American food is not the same as true Italian food. And I grew up on Italian-American food from my grandparents, you know? And I was just like blown away. I'm like, this is so different. It was like a culture shock, right?
Yeah.
So I made a point, I said, if I ever open up an Italian restaurant, I'm going to do what I spent 3 months cooking out there. And that's pretty much what we did. So we opened up in 2017, September 9th, I believe. September 8th was the official day of opening. Awesome. And almost going on 5 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I know one of the couple last times that we talked, because we talk somewhat regularly, I remember you told me you did something, you and your brother did something special for your dad.
We did.
When you went to Italy, because your dad's he's a virtuoso of cars.
Yes.
Right? Virtuoso of a Corvette. I mean, like the guy knows Corvettes backwards and forwards.
Yes.
Upside down, the whole thing. But you did something really special for him.
So he was very adamant about going to the Ferrari Museum. I said, Dad, because I coordinated the whole trip. I said, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, I said, everything's shut down, right? Completely bummed. And I don't blame him, right? Secretly, we were able to get our tickets for us four. It was me, Jojo, my oldest brother, Frank, and my dad. And we were, I don't know, maybe an hour away from the plant where we were staying in Tuscany. And I said, Dad, I got this cool thing planned. He gets all excited, right? I said, we're going to a balsamic vinegar tasting. He was, pissed? He was pissed, right? And I'll never forget, it was Jojo or my brother Frank was like, hey man, Dad like really thinks we're doing this. And he's like, he's pretty like, not happy. Like, not happy, but like, really, we're gonna go taste balsamic, right?
Right.
So obviously Modena is known for balsamic vinegar, right? It's huge. And so we ended up surprising him at the Ferrari Museum, right? And he wanted to drive to Modena, which is fine. And there's no signage anywhere, right? Okay. We're literally around the corner from the museum, and there's this little sign that he notices it. And I'm like, damn. He's like, wait a minute, the plant is over here. I said, I know, Dad, but it's closed. So I had him pull into the Ferrari Museum, and he was like a little kid in the candy store, man. We were there for, I don't know, maybe 3 hours or so, 4 hours. I've never seen a smile so big on his life. And you go through the museum, you go through the shops, and it's just like, you see Enzo Ferrari's office, and it was just such a cool experience. And then there was a museum. Then we drove to the actual plant itself. Okay. And you could rent Ferraris to drive there for a couple hours. So you're just hearing these Ferraris scream down the street left and right. And again, it was like music to his ears. He was super happy.
That's awesome.
Then after that, we actually did a balsamic tasting, right? Because we did it, Jojo and I and the staff at OB, we went to Lake Como in 2019, and we went there and we did a tasting. And we bought some balsamic, and afterwards he's like, I never had balsamic like that. I said, yeah, I told you, it's still gonna be good. I know it's not Ferrari plant good, but I'm like, it's still a fun experience to have because there's so many different ages. You know, they had a 200, I believe it was 200 year. Wow. It was like 300 euro for literally, a bottle that fills this up. I mean, it's crazy expensive, but I mean, you're literally getting history, and it's just, imagine creating something knowing that you probably won't get a chance to taste it because you'll probably be long gone.
Right? Wow.
It's crazy. So yeah, it was a cool experience.
That's awesome. So basically Ferrari, and then you have to wash it down with some balsamic.
Some balsamic, some Aperol spritz, some pasta. The Italian life is just, it's a very,
it's a hard life.
It's a tough life to live, right? That's what I'm striving for,
I love it. All right, dude, talk to me. What do we got here?
We did the dumplings.
Yes.
This is our Amatriciana, which is a very classic Roman dish. We make it with our rigatoni. You'll find it out there with spaghetti, but it's our classic red sauce that we make with red onions, garlic, a lot of olive oil, fresh basil, A little trick is nutmeg that we put in our red sauce, which I'll tell the story behind. But it's got guanciale, which is cured pork cheek, right? Face cheek, not butt cheek, right? And we get this one from Smoking Goose out of Indiana. Great small local spot. And it's just a fantastic, salty, just sweet at the same, it's just great. So it's got red pepper flakes. We finish it with our homemade breadcrumbs, pecorino romano cheese, and then we do a nice little dollop of our homemade ricotta cheese. Fried little basil garnish for, you know, for some greenery.
That's gorgeous.
Right? So yeah, this is a staple. We've had this on pretty much since day one. We switched it up here and there, but this is a classic. And it's great. I mean, you can't go wrong.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. I mean, everything I've ever had.
Yeah.
Is at the highest.
Thank you.
Everything I've ever had.
And that's why we keep the menu small, right? I mean, to me, if you're doing 30, 40 things, you're not doing them to your highest quality.
Yeah.
I don't care how talented you are.
Right.
I don't care how many staff you have on. Stuff gets lost, you know? So we try to keep it top notch.
No, and one other thing that I really, really love about this place is that you have an open
Yes.
kitchen, so everybody can see you, what you're making and everything. All right, Tony, so one thing that I noticed here, and I know I asked you a little bit earlier, and I also was inquisitive about this. I didn't know the answer, and I asked you today. You guys don't have gas burners.
No gas, yeah.
Why is that?
We weren't allowed to put it in the building. So the way the ductwork was working for the hood, it's an older building, there's some units upstairs, there was just no clear path. You know, because it's gotta be pitched a certain way, and you know, every so many feet, it's gotta pitch for the grease to catch the trap. So we tried to map it out, we weren't allowed to put it in. So convinced the fire marshal here in Geneva, said, you know, we got this restaurant going on, it's all fresh pasta, nothing high searing, no frying, stuff like that. Would we be able to do a type 2 hood, which is for like condensation, you know, just heat, to get rid of residual heat. So we convinced them to do that. And then where I worked at in the city, we cooked off induction burners because they had the same issue. There was offices, apartments upstairs, you know, it's a huge high rise downtown on Michigan Avenue. And so I was kind of accustomed to working with induction burners. To be honest, it's nice, man. You know, you don't have, you know, you're not burning, you know, arm hair on, you know, all that stuff, burning your coat sleeves, and it keeps the kitchen nice and cool. Right. And realistically, with the open kitchen concept, you're not getting all that heat, all that, you know, those BTUs aren't just pouring into the dining room. So it is a nice thing to have. Now, that being said, there are times where I wish I had some fire, you know, especially for some proteins, and but you know, you make it work.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the story behind the inductions.
Okay. That makes sense. And one thing that I noticed too, that since it's not a humongous space, but also having the heat, I feel like the heat from the gas stove when you're cooking something, it kind of permeates the odors.
Yeah,
or the aroma
absolutely.
of the food, like a lot.
Yep.
So it would be a lot more stronger in here.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, yeah. So kind of eliminate all that, which is really, really nice. It worked out in our favor, for sure.
That's a benefit.
Yeah.
That's a benefit. So that's great, man. And so this right here, I've had it multiple times.
Yes.
So the people watching, tell me.
This is our carbonara. Okay. So obviously carbonara can be made so many different ways, and not calling people out, but I feel like the majority of the Midwest does carbonara completely wrong. They add heavy cream and, you know, or, you know, milk. I mean, who knows? A lot of time they add peas, which...
That's the Italian-American way, technically.
It is.
Carbonara.
Yeah.
This is the OG way of making
This is the OG way. So again, we're using that guanciale from Smoking Goose out of Indiana. A great product. Same thing we use in the Amatriciana.
Yes.
And our homemade spaghetti, of course. And then we do a nice egg yolk and Parmesan cheese, kind of like a paste. So as we're building the dish, you know, you have your guanciale, you're warming that up, getting it seasoned, salt, you know, our 4-pepper blend, pasta water, add your cooked pasta. The biggest mistake people make is they keep it on the heat, right? If it's induction or if it's fire, turn all heat sources off, because all we're really doing is getting the egg up to temperature in the pan, just from the residual heat from the pasta water, and you're just gonna literally blend that together. Ideally, once that egg gets up to temperature, you can throw the heat back on if it's a little bit too wet. Just kind of, you know, tighten it up a little bit. And that's pretty much it. You got your salt, your pepper, and you plate it up. We hit it with our pecorino romano, then we put the egg yolk right on top. Gives it that, you know, that fun effect at the table. People see it. Some people are like, ooh, it's a raw egg. Most people are like, I can't wait to break that open. And then you kind of mix that all together, just extra richness. And what's nice is that it is a very rich dish, but that guanciale is so salty where it literally cuts through all that richness, which is really, really nice. It's just kind of bizarre because I think last summer or the summer before, we took it off during the summer because it gets hot, 95 degrees sometimes, 90 degrees. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I could sit in the heat eating a carbonara. And we got so many requests, where's the carbonara? And I'm just thinking, I'm like, I mean, if they want it. So we brought it back full time. Again, it'll never come off the menu. We learned the hard way from taking that off. So there's a few things we just don't touch. This, the Amatriciana, the carbonara, and our bolognese. It's always on, it's always on the menu.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't have to get yelled at, so.
No, that's good. And that pasta, it is rich, but it is not one of those that you're gonna eat it, then you need a pillow to take a nap.
Yeah, or a wheelbarrow to roll out of here. And that's kind of like the whole thing with fresh pasta. People don't understand. It's like, first of all, we're not like the big dogs. I'm not gonna call them out, the big chains, but it's like, you're not getting a pound of pasta, right? You're getting a normal sized portion of pasta. When you go to Italy, you're not getting a huge bowl of pasta. You're getting something somewhat smaller than this. We actually up our portion just a little bit, just because, the American diet, we like to get our, for sure. But you don't get that feel of that heaviness, even from the fresh pasta. It just hits different. Our homemade bread is just completely different,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've said it many times before, the food here is executed at the highest level, just the flavors. It's outstanding. I wish smell-o-vision was real, right?
Maybe one day.
But at the end of the day, the best way is you have to come here and try the food. It's ridiculous at another level. Now, one other thing that's real interesting that you do is right here. Let's have a conversation about this.
All right. We got to cheers first. Take a little sip. So this is our homemade limoncello. So we make this in-house. Again, we just bring in big old case of lemons. I got one of our line cooks. He peels all the lemons. And it's my grandpa's recipe. So my grandma gave it to me. I think when my grandpa passed back in 2014, she gave me her handwritten recipe.
Wow.
And awesome. we keep it here, and we've been making it since we've opened. And it's great. I mean, it's a nice little, now it's my grandpa, and unfortunately he passed before we opened. So it's been awesome to have him here, having some pasta, having some limoncello, talking about, stories of cooking in Italy. And so this is something that we always have on the menu. We also have his Manhattans.
Okay.
So we actually named it Grandpa's Juice, because growing up, we don't know. We always ask, hey, Grandpa, what are you drinking? Oh, it's just Grandpa's Juice. Don't worry about it. So, all right. So I made a point when we opened up to say, hey, this is Grandpa's Juice Manhattan. And again, some people are like, I feel like not a lot of people are used to like having names of dishes, having stories. Right. It's usually just this, and this, right? So I think it was kind of a thing that we used to have fun with, a couple items, we would kind of name funky. Like, for instance, real quick, we took a trip in 2019 to Lake Como, the whole staff. We're there for about 10 days or so. And my wife and I, we had lunch on this amazing patio on the second floor overlooking Lake Como. And we get this gnocchi dish, right? Red sauce, and I'm tasting it. I'm like, man, there's something different. It had bacon in it, or pancetta, and but it had curry in it. Great, right? And I love Indian food, so it just struck me like this, right? We came back, I put it on the menu right away.
Really?
Yeah, Memories of Lake Como. That was the name of it.
That's cool.
So people, once they started asking, like, what does this mean? Oh, chef and the staff, they went to, Italy, and this is the dish that he enjoyed. And so I think it's fun to kind of just tie in, personal experiences.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Getting the guests involved. And again, that's what's helpful about the open kitchen concept. You can literally come up while we're cooking and, just let us know, how much you enjoyed it. Hopefully it's nothing negative, but for the most part, it's been great.
Oh yeah,
it's fun.
No, I love it. When I was here the other day, so I walk in, I go into the kitchen, I talk to your brother, and he said, "Oh, hey man, so what are you here for?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm here for the octopus." He said, "Oh man, got bad news. We ran out." I'm like, "Don't give me that, dude. That's not cool." He was joking with me. So, no, every time I come here, I thoroughly enjoyed everything I've had here. It's just unbelievable, And I do love the fact that every so often you change some dishes.
Yeah, we try to keep it
something new.
Yeah.
I mean, even the bread service here is gorgeous.
Yeah, thank you.
Like how you plate it, and you have that kind of like this really cool
fun little smear.
Butter.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, we change up the flavored butter here and there, and then the bread itself will switch up shapes. Like right now, we're doing focaccia, but we've done like pan d'epe, which is a French cut, like little knots. So we try to keep things exciting. There's times where I'm just like, you know what, we just keep the same menu for 6 months. Then it's like, I don't know, a month in, you're like, I'm getting a little bored. But when we first opened up, we would switch the menu every month.
Really?
And it used to drive the staff nuts because they're finally getting used to this new dish. And then it's like, okay,
we're done.
Time to go. So then we stretched it to every month, to every quarter.
Okay.
Especially with the Midwest, you know. That fall, winter, going into spring, it's always a tough time because of availability on, you know, fresh produce and stuff like that. So spring's pretty much here, kind of.
Right.
You know, it's still cold, but so we'll probably bust out a new menu within the next couple weeks for sure.
So let me ask you this. Other than your travels, what else inspires you to come up with dishes to say, oh, I want to put this in the menu?
Pinterest. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, you know, realistically, let's be honest, like everything's been done already, right? Like we just kind of do our own little take on it here and there. Yeah. But my wife and I, we love to go out to eat, and we'll go to the city. You know, mostly we go to the city and eat, and it's just like, okay, what can I do to kind of do my own version of this? Okay. And honestly, just cookbooks. I mean, the house is full of cookbooks, and ideally, it would be the travel, because I just dive in, man. I love traveling. I love eating. I mean, when we go out, I mean, the table is double this for just two of us. And, you know, we just take it home. I think that's the best way to get inspiration, is just to taste and get new flavor profiles, and, you know, and try other cultural foods too, not just Italian food. And again, try to play that in. We actually did a porchetta shawarma at one point. Really? Where we did our homemade like pitas that we would pan fry, and then we do our porchetta that we had at, you know, RIP Need. Right. But it was a great version of a shawarma. It was awesome. That's awesome. So. That's awesome. Well, look, everybody, if you're looking for more restaurants like Osteria Bigolaro, which you should be, if you like more restaurant content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you know whenever we drop a new episode. Chef Tony, how can people find out more information about your restaurant? So obviously our website, OsteriaBigolaroRestaurant.com, our social media handles, Osteria Bigolaro, Facebook, Instagram, obviously through you guys. My personal handle is Chef Tony Gargano, so obviously we kind of cross stuff on that on Instagram. We're on Open Table now, so reservations, you can book directly on our website, which is great. As soon as you go on our website, it pops up, Open Table, and it's been great. I mean, business has been very, very good. Yeah, I can't complain. So yeah, check out social media nowadays. Everything's on social media. So Facebook, Instagram. I started a Osteria Bigolaro TikTok, and I'm young, but I have no idea how to use it. Okay, so it's there. There's just there's no content there yet. So we'll figure it out. Hopefully it'll be there someday soon. Awesome. I love it. Look, you can also find a full listing for them on americasbestrestaurants.com. Hands down, you guys already know this place 1000% certified legit. If you want authentic Italian from Italy, it's made over there, and just unique dishes like this octopus dish and whatever else comes out of this gentleman's mind over time, you have to come here. I promise you, this place is unbelievable. The food is insane. Just come here. You'll be thinking the same way I do. That's pretty much it. Let's cheers. Cheers, brother. We're gonna see you guys on the next one.